Hello and welcome to this, your daily briefing. Bit of housekeeping. One or two of you have made the suggestion that we're having sound issues with this thing. So, a full investigation went on internally, you'll be pleased to hear. Check the camera levels, check the mic levels. Got a new mic, a company called Rode, looks to be pretty much the business. And the results are back from the boys in the lab, and I'm afraid the real problem is that my balls have dropped. So whilst there are other vloggers available, if that's the right terminology, I really don't want to lose any of you. They are a little bit, well, not all of them, but many of them are very squeaky and excitable, and I am not. So that's playing a massive role in this. It's how I talk, and when we meet on that dark, stormy night, that will become evident. So let's move on with some real business. First piece of business is Fabio Paratici. Now, I understand from reading Fabrizio Romano's Twitter thing that the 48-year-old is on his way to London, or be here at the end of the week, and the first task that Daniel Levy has given him as director of football is to produce a manager for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So it's quite a little schneid one there from Daniel. It does strike me as rather strange, and it also kind of emphasises, I think, the sort of unmitigated chaos in which the club finds itself. Again, ought not there be a manager appointed? I mean, you're now looking for a coach that really does want to work with a director of football. That said, we've had the Paul Mitchell conversation before now. It's all academic anyway. If Daniel doesn't like it, then it won't happen. But it just strikes me as bizarre that you bring a guy in who's a player recruiter. That's his speciality. Maybe he's recruited other managers in the past. Who am I to say? I don't know. The beef of the day is that was the entree. The beef of the day here is Conte and a piece in the Athletic, Jack Pitt-Brooke. This is not surprising, but it remains disheartening. That said, this is a quote. That said, some of the Tottenham players had their own reservations about the possible arrival of Conte. They had heard from their friends at other clubs just how extreme and demanding Conte's methods were and how little attention he paid to the academy and to younger players. I realise, you hit 50 and you become a little bit grouchier about things, but a lot of these players that we have, they could do with national service. I'm absolutely sick of them, and I do you know something? I don't care what they think. That is not their speciality thinking. Their speciality for the oodles of cash that they get every week. Their speciality is playing football. And I don't want any tips, hints or suggestions. I just want them to get up early. I want them to have a nice shower, nice breakfast, and then get out there. And I want them to work on improving their game, because most of them are not very good at playing football. Not difficult, is it? We've had this from these players before, and it was the Athletic, and I think this predates Jack Pitt-Brooke. It might have been from Ornstein, or Ornstein even, forgive me, that the players were moaning about Poch's methods, and they did a piece on that, and I'm not kidding, they brought a guy in that was walking on coals and stuff. And it's just nuts. It's just nuts. I don't hear of this whining from players of other clubs. And it needs to change. It really needs to change. But we'll come on to that because, try and keep some semblance of order in all of this moping and noose preparation. Another issue was that he did not truly believe that Tottenham could compete for trophies. No laughing at the back. And that Levy, knowing how badly Spurs' finances were, did not want to give Conte the delusion that it didn't want to put the club at risk. Well, listen, we know Levy is risk averse, and risk averse, generally speaking, is not a bad thing. But there's risk averse, and then there's suddenly finding 240 million quid down the back of the sofa to put into building a spaceship or a shopping centre. I sympathise with Mr. Levy. I can imagine things are as fiscally as dreadful as they ever possibly could have been. But you have brought this on yourself, and you should have acted sooner. You should have gone shopping for players when Pochettino was there, and you should have been willing to back him. And as for a tough manager, Mourinho isn't a school nurse either. You know, these players don't want to do anything for anybody, and I think the absolute their ideal day is wearing 3 different headphones, playing on a phone, playing a computer game, and being fed Haribo by one of the other Herberts. And I just don't think they have it in them. But we're stuck with them, and because they don't have any great resale value at the moment, and if we did want to buy anybody, then if you're going to buy someone to replace them, you've got 2 choices. You can buy somebody who's pretty mediocre from another club and just change the faces, which probably isn't a bad idea for Spurs. Alternatively, you have to buy an elite player that will retain his value, and that'll suck up all the money that you might possibly get in. So this next section is headed, Rumour has it Mickey Mouse wears a Daniel Levy wristwatch. And the point here is that Levy is the creator of all of his own disasters. So we need a casting out of the pansies and an introduction of some hardy perennials. That's the kindest way I can put it without being arrested. The winning mentality thing has been discussed to death. But you see, the problem is Levy is of a similar mind to, say, Jermaine Genius, the Redknaps, and anybody else who just makes a sort of glib comment and moves on. That these players are not wonderful. These players are not superstars. They're not just needing a run out. They're not this, they're not that. It's all a yeah but. And you need to get new faces in and have a proper churn. And that's the problem, that Daniel Levy is aligned with these people living in this cloud cuckoo land, that everything's actually okay, and we're just a few little degrees away from click, 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 and the safe will open. And it's not going to happen. Levy is the blockage, because he has total control over everything. And until he is removed, the blockage is not removed. And that's why your toilet is backed up. I don't have much more for you. To say the club is in a state of flux is a massive understatement. The real problem is that there is no... I mean, the simple language is to say, you know, there's no Daniel changing, leopards changing his spots or whatever. But until that is fixed, we will keep on going round and round and round and round. I think Conte, as I said on previous clips here, I think Conte got the whiff of what was going on. He'd seen Mourinho fizzle out, implode, whatever language you want to use, and worked out for himself that there was no room for continuing his winning streak at Tottenham, because Tottenham didn't want to involve themselves in a winning streak. What they wanted was stability to get themselves through this post-COVID storm while still chipping away at those top 4 positions and the monies that they bring. So we're ambitionless, without a manager and without a stadium sponsor. And in the meantime, Tavistock are investing at minimum 25 million quid in some crazy German, they look really sexy, aeroplane company business. I don't know what to tell you. Have you got any suggestions? Good luck, keep it Tottenham.